The road ends without ceremony. One moment, there is gravel beneath your tires. The next, there is dirt and pine needles, and a sign half swallowed by moss warning that services ended miles ago. The forest doesn't look threatening. Not at first. It just looks indifferent. The cabin sits alone in a clearing carved out decades ago. Weathered wood. A single window. A porch that creaks even when you aren't standing on it. You wanted this. No reception, no deadlines, no voices, just silence. You tell yourself you came here to breathe again. The first night feels almost sacred. The air is thin and clean. The sky spills stars in impossible numbers. The forest hums, gently, insects, distant rustling. Branches adjusting in the wind, you sleep deeply. But sometime before dawn, you wake not to a sound, to the absence of one. The forest is silent, completely no insects, no wind, no movement. It feels wrong. Like a held breath that hasn't been released. You lie still, listening, and slowly, very slowly, the noise returns. One cricket, then another, then the wind through the trees. You convince yourself it was nothing. Forests go quiet sometimes, don't they? Day 2 is calm. You explore the perimeter. The clearing stretches only about 40 yards before the trees close in, thick and tangled. The woods feel older than they look. Dense, layered. You notice something odd. The silence inside the tree line feels heavier than the clearing. Like sound doesn't travel the same way in there. You take a few steps in, the temperature drops, not dramatically. Just enough. You tell yourself it's shade. But as you stand there, you become aware of something else. Not movement, not sound, awareness, the uncomfortable sensation of being measured. You step back into the clearing, the feeling fades instantly. You laugh at yourself. Isolation heightens the senses. That's all. That night. You hear it, a slow step in the leaves, not near the cabin, not far away, just beyond the clearing. You sit upright in bed. Another step, then nothing. You wait, 5 minutes, 10, nothing. Returns. You grab the flashlight and step onto the porch. The beam cuts through trees, illuminating bark and shadow. Nothing moves, but the darkness feels organized, layered as if something stood between those trees a moment ago and stepped back the second you looked. You sweep the light. Left, right, the forest is empty. You tell yourself, it's a deer or a raccoon, something small, something normal. You go back inside and you do not sleep. By day 3, the romance is gone. The quiet is no longer peaceful. It presses every creak in the cabin. Feels deliberate. You begin noticing patterns each time you approach the tree line. The forest goes silent before you get there. Each time you turn your back to it, you hear faint shifting behind you. Once, while chopping wood, you feel certain someone is standing at the edge of the clearing, watching you. Don't turn around immediately. You don't want to validate it. You finish splitting the log. Wipe your hands, then look. Nothing but the trees feel closer than they did. Yesterday, that evening, something changes. You hear footsteps again, but this time, they circle slowly around the clearing, not entering, not retreating, just pacing. Measured, unhurried. You stand inside the cabin. Lights off, watching through the window. There's no visible shape, no outline, just the subtle disturbance of leaves. In darkness, it completes a full circle and stops directly behind the cabin. Silence. You don't turn around. You don't want to see it. Minutes stretch, then a single knock, soft, on the back wall, not a branch, not scraping. A knock, 3, deliberate. Taps. You don't move. You don't breathe. It doesn't repeat after several minutes. You hear the footsteps retreat back into the trees. But the forest never resumes its normal sounds. You don't leave. You tell yourself you're imagining it. Isolation can cause auditory distortions. You Google it on the single bar of weak signal. Near the porch. Cabin fever, hallucinations. Paranoia in remote areas. Heightened sensory response. You cling to the explanations. That night, you lock every door. You sit awake with the lights off. You want to see it before it sees you. Hours pass, nothing happens. And slowly, exhaustion pulls you under. You wake to sunlight. Relief washes over you. Maybe it was just your mind adjusting. Maybe you were overtired. You open the front door and freeze. There are footprints in the dirt. Not animal. Not quite. Human, long, narrow, deep impressions. As if whatever made them carried significant weight. They circle the cabin, dot twice, and stop. Directly beneath your bedroom window, you step outside. The prints lead toward the treeland. Stop, not fade, not turn. Stop. As if whatever made them simply ceased to exist mid-step. You decide to leave. You pack quickly. You load your car as you turn the ignition. The engine sputters. Once, twice, then dies. You try again. Nothing. The forest is silent. You step out of the car. The clearing feels smaller now. Oppressive. The trees don't sway, the air doesn't move, and then you hear breathing. Behind you, slow, steady, too close. You don't turn around. You can feel it. Not hot breath, not cold, just presence. Standing inches from your back, studying you, you whisper, "What do you want?" There's no answer. But the breathing shifts. Circles, moves. Past you. You feel it pass your shoulder without touching you. Then you hear it step into the clearing. You turn. There's nothing there, but the air in the center of the clearing distorts, like heat rising from pavement. A shape not defined by form but by absence. Where it stands, light bends wrong, sound warps. You feel your heartbeat stutter. It doesn't advance. It doesn't attack. It just watches, then it turns and walks into the forest. This time, you see the trees part. You see branches bow. As if something immense passes through, and the forest swallows it whole. The sounds return: birds, wind, insects, normal. Your car starts on the first try. You leave. You don't look back. But sometimes, at night, in your apartment, in the safety of streetlights and traffic noise, you wake to silence. Total silence. No cars, no wind, no distant voices, just that same heavy absence, and in that silence, you hear a single slow step, not outside your door, not down the hall, inside the room behind you, waiting, because maybe it never lived in the forest. Maybe it lives in isolation and you brought it home.